back here on Sunrise and Naked TV. Now we take a look at the newspapers making the headlines for today.
And joining us this morning is Naked TV's in-house analyst, Res Arum. Mr. Res, it's a pleasure to see you one more time on Sunrise.
Thank you, Mr. Uche, for having me.
You enjoyed yourself over Tuesday, we didn't see, but let me ask, how is Nigeria treating you?
Well, Nigeria has always been the same. There's not much of change. I have not had any more excitement than I used to have. I've not had any more troubles than I used to have.
Okay, and that's comforting. However, it's a pleasure to see you on Sunrise.
Thank you.
All right, we're starting with the nation's headlines, which says ministers, others with political ambition get March 31st quit date. Now on the Punch headline we have Borno bombings, killings spark fury, defense chiefs move into Maiduguri. Now on Vanguard headline we have Maiduguri explosions, survivors recount ordeals, service chiefs relocate to Borno. Now on the Guardian headline we have AFCON, Morocco crowned champions, Senegal stripped off title. Now on the Sun newspaper headline we have Borno bombings, Tinubu under attack. Now in the Daily Trust we have 30 days after ICPC fails to arraign El-Rufai. We're starting today's Sunrise commentary on the Vanguard, which says Maiduguri explosions, survivors recount ordeals, service chiefs relocate to Borno. The headline highlights the aftermath of deadly explosions in Maiduguri, where survivors share painful and traumatic experiences from the attacks. It also notes that Nigeria's top military leaders have moved to Borno State to oversee security operations directly, signaling urgent efforts to address the situation, support affected communities, and strengthen measures to prevent further violence.
All right, Mr. Rice, let me quickly bring you in. Let me get your opinion on this issue, and then before I ask a few questions.
Well, you see, it is a recurring decimal on the attack of the insurgent groups on strategic locations. Now they have come into the civilian areas with suicide bombing. You know, the days of suicide bombing had been there some few years back, but after some time it became that of kidnapping and maiming of citizens and confronting of the military bases and all that. Now the issue of suicide bombing has come back to the scene, which is becoming, the story is becoming more complex. The activities of the insurgency is becoming more complex. So you see, you have to now begin to think about how to detect some of these bombs, and even the carriers, some people are ready to die with the bombs. So Nigerians must be very, very careful in getting to places, crowded environment and all that, because it's as a result, because this is where they actually want to detonate bombs. Crowded environments where you have numerous people that will come there to detonate such bombs. So, well, the Nigerian situation is getting worse because we are seeing other dimensions to the insurgent attack on Nigerians. So, not newer, it was there, but stopped a while, and now it has ready, which means they're now going back to ensure that they employ all the arsenal to attack Nigerians. And for what reason? are these certain groups working? They best know it. They best know exactly what they gain from terrorism. It is the terrorists that know exactly what they gain from terrorism. One could ask Iran, and of course Iran may have the answer to what gains they get from terrorism. Otherwise, from a perspective of human conscience, from my perspective, do not see anything good coming out from terrorism.
Nothing good coming out of terrorism. I'll come back to you, but Good Hope, let me get your opinion on the issue.
Well, it is something that we have seen that happened just a few days ago, and just before the president left the country, he ordered all the security chiefs to go to Maiduguri to fix the current situation. Well, I think at the end of the day, we're going to have a more clearer system where every of our security chiefs are in a place, and then it could also, from my own end, it could also mean that these same people could move somewhere else. While every focus is on Maiduguri, they could move to somewhere else, and that may be a problem.
All right, Mr. Rees, looking at the directive of Mr. President, telling service chiefs to relocate to the scene of the act, do you see this, bringing any different results from the usual?
What difference is going to be achieved? Security chiefs, you heard Mr. Good Hope just a few seconds ago. That's the fact that the security chiefs have all geared at combating what is happening in Maiduguri. The terrorists will just relocate and go to places where they are not, and begin to actually begin to do the wrong things they are doing, begin to kill people, begin to kidnap people and all that. So what are you going to do? It is only when things happen in Nigeria that you now begin to see security agencies and the CEC giving orders, go there, get them, and so on. How many of them has been gotten? Have we ever been told that those who mowed down plenty, good number of people in Kwara, that a few of them were apprehended? Have we been told that? How many of them have been apprehended? How many have been rounded up? And you sent a battalion. The battalion went there. I wonder what they are going there to do. We are talking about intelligence. We must elevate the intelligence gathering in Nigeria, because it is only through intelligence that you begin to know what they intend to do, and then stop it, put it to a stop before it happens, and the lives and property of people will be protected.
Yes.
Do you've ever hear about Israeli Mossad? They have a lot of intelligence. How they get these things, of course, we do not know. Only those in the intelligence gathering business that knows how these things are done. So what you do is do it. If you do not know how to do it, you go for a course. You ask people that know it internationally to lecture your own people, and they'll come back and impart same to many others that are going to be working on intelligence gathering. We need intelligence in Nigeria. Otherwise, going there, moving to Maiduguri, okay, now they have moved to Maiduguri. What do we expect? We want to hear that they have rounded off Boko Haram in Maiduguri. If they do, and ISWAP members, if they do, then we'll be happy that they went to Maiduguri. But if they do not do, then it means that the monies and logistics expended for their movement, do you know what it means for security chiefs to relocate to a place? A lot of logistics are involved. So it means the logistics expended for such movement is a waste if nothing is achieved. So Nigeria has to stand up and become more proactive than ever and ensure that they gather enough intelligence to guard and guide Nigerians.
All right, enough intelligence to guide and guard Nigerians. So, when Mr. President, classified the whole act as a desperate act of a dying element, being that from that attack, in the teaching hospital and Monday market in Meduguri, then instructed the service chiefs to relocate while he was leaving the country. I, for one, my position is that I expected that Mr. President would have cancelled the foreign trip for the sake of the souls that were abruptly killed in Nigeria, and the issue around insecurity in Nigeria is enough of an issue to warrant a cancelling of that foreign trip or rescheduling to a future date. And then looking at the issue around the deployment of the service chiefs, and you were quite apt when you spoke to that issue, because we do not see this being, it's just reactionary in itself. We do not see it bringing a stoppage to the insecurity challenges that is confronting us as a people. Perhaps we may be able to stem the insecurity in Meduguri, and we know that these attackers are nomadic and is a guerrilla warfare. What are the chances that they will not move away from Meduguri and move to other scenes or theaters? What now happens to other areas if all the service chiefs now put and pay their attention to Meduguri? I keep insisting that until we become proactive rather than reactionary on our security approaches, then until then we may begin to have a comprehensive or a tangible result in our fight against insecurity, against insurgency, banditry, or terrorism, by whatever name we give them.
All right, we'll move over to the Daily Trust, where we have 30 days after ICPC fails to arraign El-Rufai. The headline indicates that a month after initiative developments in the case, the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission has not formally charged Nasser El-Rufai in court. This delay raises questions about the pace of legal proceedings, possible procedural challenges, or lack of sufficient evidence, and may fuel public debate over accountability and effectiveness of anti-corruption efforts.
All right, Mr. Rice, let's get your opinion on this as well.
Okay, you see, after one full month, even before the arrest of El-Rufai, we are supposed to, in fact, we are supposed to believe that ICPC must have looked under about whatever thing they're going to arrest him for. They must have done some findings on the issue. And now El-Rufai has been arrested, kept in custody, and they refuse to arraign him. And there is a constitutional provision that such situations like that, one must be arraigned within a particular period of time. And then they have not arraigned him. Beyond that, the El-Rufai has also won appeal and won in court too. So, which means if they do not have enough evidence, because it is most likely going to be centered around evidence. Because when you take somebody to court and you are incapable of convicting such person, there may be other undercurrent after all. If you arrest people and after the arrest they are found not culpable, after incarceration they are found not culpable, certainly they may go back to court to ask court for their fundamental right which has been impeded on. And that is exactly what they are running away from. So if they cannot arraign El-Rufai and they're not sure they're going to convict him, then they should let him go and let it not be a political issue, because we are seeing arrests and incarcerations of political personalities as something that the government of the day is using to cow politicians in the various opposition groups.
All right.
Okay, so on this El-Rufai issue, it is very clear from this stance that El-Rufai has been in custody. Now, several of the things they said they found in his house, the wiretapping elements and phones they seized, a lot of phones that we saw that they seized. There has not been any particular investigation, even checking those phones too. So currently, just like you said, it's something that they need to go forward or that they need to just leave. Because looking at it from a political stance, it looks like coming from the place where El-Rufai is, what he has been doing and his backlog of being bold and predictive, saying what he actually has been saying. It actually looks like this is more political tension than it is more of a corruption case. But at the end of the day, we're going to see what happens.
All right. Looking at this issue, a lot of people will continue to raise trump up the opposition card, that this is the intimidation of opposition. But one do expect, a situation where, despite the attempted arrest at the airport when he was coming into the country, and then following the failure of the arrest, he did on 16th of February, submitted himself to EFCC. He was detained for 2 days, for questioning. And then upon release, they handed him over to ICPC. And like you rightly said, one should expect that at this point in time, before this arrest, that the agencies of government, speaking to EFCC and ICPC, should, as at that time, completed investigation. And if they are arresting him, they should be ready to prosecute. Now, keeping him incommunicado and incarcerated for this long now begins to raise issues around tomorrow that one will use to, puncture whatever decision that the court may arrive at. Remember that Nigerian law, gives the prerogative to these agencies to prove guilt and not the accused to prove his innocence. In this instance, one expects that following the rule of law, that they must have completed their investigation and not continue to incarcerate him for this long. And I may not want to, argue against people who feel that this is a politically motivated incarceration. If you found him guilty of any crime, why not take him to the open court, try him? And this man has equally, like you rightly pointed out, secured what I call a win to challenge the position of the Kaduna State Assembly that has accused him for misappropriation of their fund or diversion of their fund. In this instance, for me, the rule of law should be allowed to take its course, irrespective of party affiliation, irrespective of El-Rufai's position against this very government. Keep speaking to the issue that, look at, for example, Malami. Malami yesterday was very powerful in the government of former President Muhammadu Buhari. And today, where is Malami? Those in power today should take that as a cue, that what we need is a strong institution where the institution are preeminent and not strong men. We should do away with having strong men in our politics, because in this instance the rule of law is not being followed. We expect that he should be by now answering before the judges in court, and that's what should happen.
Okay, we move over to the next newspaper headline, where we have The Nations. It says, ministers, others with political ambition get March 31st with date. On The Nation's headline, the headline indicates that government officials, including ministers who intend to pursue political ambitions, have been given a deadline of March 31st to resign from their positions. This directive, likely tied to electoral guidelines and fairness in the political process, signals a move by the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu to ensure that public office holders do not use their current positions to gain undue advantage ahead of upcoming elections.
All right, Rest, are we at that point yet where we'll see political office holders resigning from their position but in this instance, we are seeing that Mr. President has given the directive for appointed office holders, ministers, special advisors who are intending to vie for office to, resign from their position prior to.
It is not even just the directive alone. It is also part of the electoral law that except the executive, the elected incumbents, these are the only people that should not resign. Those in the assemblies and those who are working as governor, president, vice president, deputy governor. These are people that do not resign while seeking re-election. Every other person, an appointee of government, is supposed to resign to seek election. So those who have the vision and the ambition to seek for election into various offices that are in the government employ have been asked to leave their offices so that they'll go and join the parties and prepare for whatever ambition or vision they have. And that is the way to go. If you are in government, you are a government appointee, and you stay right in the government offices to seek re-election, there are going to be undue influences on the activities that will lead to your election, into such an office. So people are supposed to leave. I have enumerated just the president, vice president, governors, deputy governors, and members of the assemblies, both national and state assembly. These are people that could stay in office and rerun for elections.
All right.
Well, from this, I have just one question, but before I ask my question, the thing is, looking at you being appointed and being in place of your appointment to go for a position where you be elected, it is not tallying. So from what Mr. President is saying, and he should not have come out to say this, because this is part of the electoral law. So it should be what people that wants to go for political position should just carry on. Him coming out to announce it makes it a double kind of issue. But looking at just the other time, we are having the son of former vice president of Nigeria resigning from his position as the commissioner in his state, now going into ADC. We are seeing this as still what Mr. President is saying, and he's an example for what we have cited. I think it is what we have to, and the people who are going into political positions should imbibe and not let the president remind them or give them an ultimatum, seeing the elections around the corner.
Let me get your reaction, Mr. Rest.
I said earlier that naturally, anybody who is an appointee of government, I'm talking about commissioners, ministers, and other head of parastatals and agencies of government, are supposed to resign. In Enugu State here, the chairman of the university board, Chiakoha, recently resigned. Possibly he may be seeking for election, and that could be why he resigned. So people are not even, it's not as if the governor told him to resign. He knows that the law stipulated that such person must resign, and that's exactly why they should resign. For the president to, remind his appointees to do that, it's not bad. You just want to, pay them well, to tell them good efforts and possibly represent us, support us, whatever you are seeking for, let it be in the renewed hope agenda.
All right, that's quite apt. Speaking to Mr. President, voicing to this part of the Electoral Act is quite commendable because that's his number one image maker, and a number of times those appointees look up to him, to interpret his body language and disposition. And given this directive, we may begin to see the interpretation and replication across the subnationals as well. Having said that, this one beauty of the Electoral Act that nobody really point to, and speaking to that section 88 subsection 1 of this Electoral Act 2026, that determine that office holders need to resign if they are to seek elective positions. Having said that, what we're looking at here is strengthening our democracy, where not people would use the privilege of their office to influence the outcome of an election. And that's been the issue that we face here. A number of times when we speak to electoral malfeasance, it has to deal with those who are in office, who use their position to favor either their chosen candidate or the outcome, influence the general outcome of an election. And if we continue to toe this line, there's no doubt that over time our electoral process will be more refined in this aspect.
Okay, so in the other news, we have Soludo begins second term, promises to do more for Anambra. Soludo begins second term, promises to do more for Anambra. The headline highlights the inauguration of Charles Chukwuma Soludo for a second term in office, where he reassures citizens of his commitment to deliver more development and improved governance. It reflects renewed promises to build on past achievements, address key challenges, and further enhance economic growth and infrastructure in Anambra State.
All right, before we start looking at this issue, I call for the video where we'll see the governor taking the oath of office and making his speech.
Yes, sir.
Oath of allegiance. I, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, CFR, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God. Oath of office of the Governor of the state. I, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, CFR, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as the Governor of Anambra State, I will discharge my duties to the best of my ability, faithfully, and in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the law. That I will strive to preserve, in accordance with the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law, and always in the interest of the sovereignty, solidarity, well-being, and the prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That I will strive to preserve the fundamental objectives and directive principles of the state policy contained in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That I will exercise the authority vested in me as governor, so as not to impede, prejudice, the authority lawfully vested in the president, lawfully vested in the President
of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
and so as not to endanger the continuance of the Federal Republic of
endanger
Nigeria,
the continuance of the federal government in Nigeria,
that I will not allow my personal interests
that I will not allow my personal interests
to influence my official conduct
to influence my official conduct
or my official decisions,
or my official decisions,
that I will, to the best of my ability,
that I will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect,
and
and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
that I will abide by the Code of Conduct
that I will abide by the Code of Conduct
contained in the 5th schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of
to
Nigeria,
the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
that in all circumstances I will do right to all manner of people
I will do right to all manner of people
according to law, without fear or favor, affection or ill will, that I will not directly or indirectly communicate or reveal to any person any matter which shall be brought under my consideration.
All right, seeing the governor of Anambra State take the second oath of office and vowing to be fair to all manner of men and women from Anambra State is so heartwarming. Having won his re-election bid, one expects that coming from this second term in office, that Anambra State will witness massive advanced development from where the governor took off, that this second year will be a period of consolidation on the gains that he has made in Anambra State. Despite that, Mr. Reyes, the error where we saw him, speaking and taking that oath as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that's a massive error. In itself is a massive error.
He was taking his oath as a
governor, not the president. But let me get your opinion on this second time swearing in of Chukwuma Charles Soludo.
Well, this is not the first time he's sworn in as a governor. He has gone that first, and then he's going
on the second
for a second term. So the swearing in ceremony, of course, re-election is something that portrays that the one has done well, and the reward for good work is more work. And I think the Anambrians have thought it expedient that Chukwuma Soludo will come back for itself to consolidate on the gains of his administration during his first term. That is to begin to consolidate, to begin to put things together so that some of these things he has done will be sustainable for the people of Anambra State. Let's take a look at his innovation in terms of security. We know Anambra to be a very serious insecure state. Anambra even at a point surpassed insecurity as was seen in Igbo State. I'm talking about Southeast as a whole. Anambra surpassed at a point. But today, you go to Anambra, it is peaceful. And he's coming in to ensure that he affects a lot of things in strict conforming, conforming strictly to the rule of law.
Conforming strictly to the rule of law, that's the expectation of all Nigerians and the Anambarians in particular. Thank you, Mr. Reyes, for that in-depth insight on that oath taking.
And that's a wrap on today's newspaper headline review. You can always check out any newspaper of your choice and also revert to our social media platforms where we have these newspapers already there. We'll go on a short break. When we return, we'll come with more updates. Stay with us.
Need advert placements, coverage for events, or the latest news stories? Call 070-3043-7110 right now. And Neke TV, move with the world.
In a world
that never stands still, where stories break in seconds and moments shape history. One station keeps you connected to your nation, to the continent, to the world.
From breaking news to powerful stories, from business and politics to culture, lifestyle and entertainment, we inform, we inspire, we keep you ahead.
This is more than television. This is your window to everywhere that matters.
Aneke TV. Move with the world.
Many thanks for staying with us, and this is still the sunrise. And joining us now is Gerard Odo to give us heads up on the tech updates. Mr. Gerard, it's a pleasure to have you on Sunrise.
Thank you so much.
How are you this morning?
I'm very fine.
All right. So let us in on what is happening in the tech world.
Well, on the tech space, we are having so much advancements. First of all, in the artificial intelligence, certain companies across the globe have partnered with Nigerian and some other companies to make sure artificial intelligence is worthwhile. Furthermore, some companies have invested billions of dollars to make sure that Nigerian tech hubs and startups are well financed. So moving over to the Africa Acceleration Investments in Artificial Intelligence and Digital Innovation. Africa tends to be one of the highest or one of the biggest partners in terms of artificial intelligence, partnering with major companies such as Microsoft, Google, NVIDIA, and some other GTC 2026 companies.
All right. Speaking to artificial intelligence, how is this going to help boost Nigerian businesses?
Well, with the advent of technology and with the use of artificial intelligence, it will boost Nigeria's economy and businesses in so many ways by the use of what we call AI agents. AI agents are sub-agents that help to deliver some certain tasks in the AI space. Let's say you are a businessman in the transportation sector. Those AI agents will serve as 5 to 10 of your workforce. So companies are now investing into AI and AI agents to cut or mitigate the money being spent on some of these workers. So we are now leveraging on AI agents to help us navigate through these problems.
All right. Mr. S, speaking to these advancements, the welcome developments as well, where there are fears that these innovations may begin to take away people's jobs.
And that's exactly what I was about. If you had allowed me, I would have asked the question. That there's going to be a whole lot of loss of jobs.
Gerard,
yes,
maybe you help us because
there's going to be a whole lot of loss of jobs. You understand? You see humans given jobs they could do with their hands, and now you have artificial intelligence agents doing those jobs, which means people will be made to be redundant. There will be no jobs for them, and possibly that might increase unemployment in the society?
Well, I would answer that question using what major tech startups normally say, that AI is not taking over workforce, but rather it is venturing more into what we call productivity and work efficiency. The way we see our world today is different from how we perceived it 10 or 20 years ago. So the AI is now in place to enhance what we call work productivity and efficiency in our businesses and in our various companies. In fact, according to realistic statistics, AI is valued over $1 trillion. So we see AI as now the new oil, or what we call the new crypto in 2026. So it is not here to take over the workforce. It is here to enhance and to propel work productivity within a specific given time.
Yes, but certainly, like you pointed out, because you give an instance of a transporter, maybe 5 persons were to do a job, and you can use AI and then you cut down the number of jobs, which means within the transport business, about 5 persons must have lost jobs. So what will happen to such persons?
Major investments in AI will help such persons.
Anyway, what we're looking at here is a position where with the advent of artificial intelligence, more job opportunities will be created, in other spaces and sectors where people will leverage, that advantage, like Mr. Gerard did say, like a transporter may now no longer need a multitude of staffs, but leveraging on AI, where other Nigerians may equally go into studying and taking control of the opportunity that artificial intelligence has offered. In essence, but what I wonder is that perhaps we'll get to a level, Mr. Reyes, where we'll no longer see those people shouting at the motor park, Onitsha, Enugu, Aba, Owerri, Abuja, and all that, and you see AI taking over those spaces. But these other people, perhaps, Gerard, I don't know, you are the specialist here, may have opportunities through the AI industry that you say is now running in the billions.
Good. Let me just add before he responds.
Yeah.
Even where you say those people will begin to have opportunities created by the industry, that's the AI, hub. How many of these people that shout, that load vehicle at various motorcars are educated? That's the question. You must be educated before you rise. You must be computer literate. You must have ICT knowledge before you begin to use AI. So if AI is creating jobs in its own sector, it's not for such persons. That is exactly what I am afraid of. And that's exactly what I want to know, because you already said that there could be creation of jobs.
But looking at what the AI is doing what they are doing with AI in other climes, perhaps one may begin to think that Nigeria is not yet at that point where we'll absorb the AI advancement and innovation holistically, moving forward. But one thing that is not in doubt is that the AI, the artificial intelligence industry, is booming, and we may leverage on that equally, to boost our economy. And even our fight against terrorism, we have to leverage on the artificial intelligence as well.
Certainly, I do believe you that AI is a very big industry. It hasn't even exploded.
Yeah.
It is still, developing. It is developing because we're going to get beyond what it is.
You remember when we were talking about the treaty with Turkey, where we said beyond, handing over these drones, they should be able to, be a transfer of knowledge so that we can produce these drones here as well. Yeah. And perhaps that in itself as well will create more jobs.
And of course, with the AI industry, you could also power these drones. Even presently, we are beginning to see even jets, fighters going on drones, going for attacks without being manned by anybody.
Manned by artificial intelligence.
Manned by artificial.
All right, Mr. General.
Yeah, well, what I can say about this is that we should look at the bigger picture here.
Okay.
AI is revolutionizing in a very big way in all sectors, be it in medicine, be it in security, be it in counterterrorism, be it in politics, be it in all tiers or spheres of life. So the measure or the big picture cannot be overlooked. So I think we should look much more in the holistic or in the bigger picture of what AI has to offer in our continent than some other.
No, yes, you're right.
Yes.
We look at the bigger picture, but we have to point out the underlying issues here. While we advance, there are still a fallout from these advancements that may impact either positively and negatively on the people. And like we just cited, we're using the case of the motor park canvassers, for example. If their jobs are taken over, there are a lot of fundamentals that has to be in place to ensure that when we embrace holistically this advancement, it doesn't have adverse effect on the populace or the Nigerian people, where people begin to lose their job without having any succor as to where the next meal will come from and all that.
Well, that is a very important gap that the AI industry must mitigate, because you are trying to carry everybody along in this particular system. You're trying to carry everybody along. So that is a very important gap they must fill in.
So lecturers will begin to lose job as well.
Well, they won't lose their jobs, but it will make their jobs much more faster.
Much more faster.
Exactly, because a lecturer that can actually talk to 1,000 students comfortably, with the advance of AI, can talk to more than 1 million students.
Wow.
At the same time. So you tend to see that what AI is trying to bring to our world is actually very big and very, very much beneficial in all sectors of life.
All right.
In terms of interaction, like you said about the lecturer, will he have effective interaction with the students?
I call it seamless communication interaction, where students will now have access to advanced intel and knowledge based on that discipline that they are trying to learn. So let's say they are going into mechanical engineering, they will now have this opportunity of learning advanced mechanical engineering with practical steps on how to follow through all this.
Not just about it, I'm talking about your interaction with your lecturer. The lecturer is talking to about 1,000 students, and then we are talking about how we can begin to, the one that from one person to the other, those who ask questions, trying to clarify issues from the lecturer.
Yes, there is a system, a seamless system provided for such an interaction.
I understand where you're going. You are trying to point out that human aspect of teaching where you have, but perhaps as we advance in this AI industry, we'll begin to see the pros and cons here. When we're speaking to this issue, it now reminds me that we're having test tube babies. And part of the issues that people raise is that will these test tube babies be devoid of emotion? And human beings are guided by the emotion more often than not. So we'll look and welcome these advancements as
Even robots are beginning to have
emotions. Okay.
All right, thank you very much for that tech update. We go on a short break. When we return, we come with what's trending.
In a world that never stands still, where stories break in seconds and moments shape history, one station keeps you connected to your nation, to the continent, to the world.
From breaking news to powerful stories, from business and politics to culture, lifestyle and entertainment, we inform, we inspire, we keep you ahead.
This is more than television. This is your window to everywhere that matters.
Aneke TV. Move with the world.
Thank you for staying with us, and we're still on the sunrise this morning on Aneke TV. And joining us with what's trending is Sandra Ogu. Sandra, it's a pleasure to have you on Sunrise.
Thank you very much.
And before you start, let me ask my signature question. How, seeing you all smiles, how is Nigeria treating you?
We are trying. Nigeria is trying.
I love to hear that. I love to hear that. Nigeria is trying. I will just clip it there. Nigeria is trying for all of us. All right. Let's know what's trending this morning.
Okay, on what is trending this morning, we see the complaints and questions that people are giving on the bomb blast in Maiduguri,
okay,
which many people said that Trump has blasted Tinubu for going to UK the next day of, like the day after the attack. And then we see a tweet and a reel that was posted by @Reels Donald Trump. He said that the situation in Nigeria is a total disaster. Massive coordinated suicide bombing tonight in Maiduguri, a hospital, a major market, a post office, all hit. Many innocent people killed. This is what happens when you have no leadership and open borders for terrorists. While his country is in a state of national emergency, President Tinubu is currently in the UK on a state visit. Unbelievable. Shaking hands and having fancy dinners while his people are being blown up. I don't think so. Prime Minister Starmer should tell him to get on a plane and go home immediately. You don't stay abroad during a crisis like this. A real leader is on the ground with the military and the people, not cutting ribbons in London. Nigeria is a great country with wonderful people, but they are being let down by a government that isn't focused on strength and security. Close the borders, find the terrorists, and protect your citizens. Everything else can wait. So this is the complaint. Now we bring it to the question that everybody is asking. Is Nigeria, do you think Nigeria is a safe zone for people to inhabit? Or do you think that something like this will happen again?
All right. Let me quickly run to Mr. Ress on this very issue. Speaking to Nigeria being a safe place for people to inhabit. People has been here, and people will continue to be here. Mr. Ress, let me get your opinion.
It is not even about safety. The only thing is that we have been born and bred. We are confined to here, where we don't have any other place to call our own. There's no other country we call our own. That is why we are here. It is not because we have the best of safety. It's not because we have the best of everything or the best of anything. We find out that we are basically suffering in so many sectors. We don't have electricity, we don't have Medicare, we don't have infrastructure, we don't have employment, we don't have so many things, and we have insecurity. So these are all here, but there's no place to run to. Therefore, we continue to be in Nigeria.
So in the Nigerian palace, we say we'll die here.
We die here, we salvage it together here. Because how do you begin to look at it? Where are you going to go? The borders of other nations are closed. So where are you going to run to? So you stay in Nigeria and salvage it together.
All right.
But for what is trending, it is very apt. The people that criticize the leadership of this country, I think they are right to a great extent. The fact that our leadership will leave to junket, I use the word junketing, that is going for dinners, doing some kind of happiness things. It's junketing.
But he's bringing some business deals to Nigeria.
Which business deals? We are talking about a royal visit.
royal visit in which some treaties will be signed.
Let the treaties be signed and let the treaties be such that will affect
it's going to advance the ports in Nigeria.
Don't worry about that. The ports in Nigeria have been working, and it has not been advanced until or it has not been advanced. So it is now going to be advanced because of the visit to London. And about recorded 23 dead, 108 in various hospitals. And who is even sure that the whole 108 will make it alive?
All right.
So criticizing Mr. President is a sure thing to be done. And in talking about responsibility, our government and leadership must take to the path of responsibility to the Nigerian.
All right. Let's get your opinion.
Well, it's the same thing everyone is saying, I'm saying, because like yesterday, the order was given for the security chiefs to move to the bomb scenario, to where the whole thing happened. I think we are on the same page looking at the issues. Of course, Trump wanted to have a visit or to make a move. He wanted to travel. There's somewhere in the news that he wanted to travel, but even while the escalation in Iran is going, he said he's shifted it to 3 weeks. That's what we saw. But right now, our president is somewhere having, of course, that was actually by invitation from the King Charles III. At the end of the day, we're going to see more of our policies, like Mr. Tuche has been pointing out. Our policies being mended while we are being mended in our own country by the terrorists. I believe that all these things will turn into a better scenario that all of us will rejoice, just like Nigeria treating us and being our motherland. We cannot go anywhere.
All right. One thing is that Mr. S will die here. Now our country is, we don't have any other country. Yes, and my position has always been that Nigeria will be built by Nigerians. Irrespective of the treaties, the collaborations, Nigeria will be built by Nigeria, and we'll have no other place to call home.
Yeah.
East, south, west, north, no place like home. Wherever we go, we must definitely come home. But this coming from Mr. Trump, or President Trump, I will look at it from different perspective. One, when he's speaking to responsible leadership, I quite agree with him that in moments of crisis, it behoves on the government to offer leadership. And like you did point out, I keep speaking to the Nigerian state and Nigerians beginning to lose the very, forget the very sanctity of life. 23 lives were lost. And for me, it's enough for Mr. President to postpone this royal visit.
Yeah.
But having said that, this coming from a president that has taken Americans to what I call, or as perceive, should have been a needless war in Iran, should be careful as well when he's chastising other world leaders. America would have achieved a very strong position through diplomatic channels if he had pandered a little further than the escalation we're witnessing in the Middle East. Human lives are involved. So leaders all over the world should be responsible when they make decisions that impact other people's lives. That's not to say that I do not, and I am not excited that somebody is holding our government to account. Yes, we expect more. We expect, like we always say every morning, that the borders should be closed, that the life and property of Nigerians are the primary business of government. Having said that, we do expect that when Mr. President comes back, that he would heed the advice from his friend, President Donald Trump, and see that things are escalated faster to curb insecurity in Nigeria.
Okay, still going on my second trending matter. This one has to do with the Abuja-Kaduna train collision, where we see that the incident reportedly occurred as one train was approaching the station and slowing down when another train struck it from behind, and it caused an impact of a forceful push enough to throw passengers off their seats, triggering panic and confusion on board. So we bring me to the question, do you think that this incident has sparked renewed skepticism in train transport, in fact in transport in general, because passengers are beginning to question the efficiency of safety standard of Nigerian Railway Corporation system.
All right, Mr. S, I see you're eager to...
not just being eager, this is a serious, egregious error and technical error.
Yeah.
You know, for train, it's not always easy. It is once in a while problem for train to collide, or you know, you collide with one another because of the way they are done. If you see that on the social media, AI and so on, you see that it's just where you have the lane for the other train to go and so on. Just within minutes, they will just push the other one. The other one will go, and the next will also go its own way. It is a technical error. So what has to be done is to begin to find out who was supposed to handle what, and then who was piloting. The train drivers are not pilots. We call them operators. So who was operating the train at that point? And was he sleeping for him to collide, or has he failed? Has he gotten to a technical
sorry to cut you in. To put it in the right perspective, this coalition wasn't with an oncoming train.
Collision.
It wasn't a collision. What happened was that a coach collided with the same train.
Yes.
You understand? A boat went off, and the coach collided with the front. You understand? The one that is in front of it, the other coach in front of it. That was what happened. Three people.
It's also a technical error.
Yes. Yes.
Possibly those who are supposed to tight and which resulted in what it is. But I believe it is a very serious technical error, and they should not be allowed to reoccur. Otherwise, the interrogation about safety standards will begin to take the center stage of our discourse.
Okay, based on this, it's very simple. This is the, will I say first time or just the second time this kind of thing is happening in Nigeria. The first one was a train that nearly fell out of its rail.
Right.
Yes, that nearly fell out of its rail. It was just, we could see that was a miracle. And this one is the coach boss jamming the train. Like Mr. Rex has said, it is something that we have to look into. But we rarely hear about trains having such issues in Nigeria. I think we are actually making progress. If we can also bring this around, this is just where it is. This is just still in the area where it is in the north or around the middle east north belt. So we're going to see at the end of the day what it's going to be.
All right. So speaking to this issue, right, Mr. Rice, you really pointed out that this is a technical issue, and like the controller of this agency did say, they are investigating, and we lend our voice that a holistic investigation be carried out on the matter. This is not the first time that the Kaduna Abuja line, has been on, and there's had an issue like this. There's always been accidents associated with this Kaduna from Rigasa to Abuja route. In this same very route, we remember the incident around Chidema and Co. So this is not the first time, and they need to, bring in together as to the issue of safety, so that the passengers would, be confident that when they travel through this route, that they are going to get to their destination in one piece. It's become another accident too many on this very route. We do not hear about such accidents on other routes. It's usually between the Rigasa station in Kaduna through Ido Abuja route that you see these encounters. Even when we saw the terrorist ambush of a train, it was still through this route, so they need to properly investigate and see that everything are brought together on this very route going forward. So Sandra Obu, thank you very much for this was trending. It's a pleasure to have you on Sunrise. We'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll have Gift Obodo letting us know what's happening in the entertainment world.
Morning headlines before you step out. Midday updates while you walk. Evening analysis when the day winds down. Wherever life takes you, Aneke TV keeps you informed, connected, and ahead. Aneke TV. Move with the world.
All right, joining us on Entertainment Update is Gift Obodo. Miss Gift, a pleasure to have you on Sunrise.
Yeah, thank you.
How is Nigeria treating you this morning?
Very much okay.
All right. Before we come over to you, I quickly call on the glowing reception our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, how he was received in the UK. What a glowing reception. Mr. Rez, you saw how our president, the #1 citizen of Nigeria, was welcomed at the United Kingdom, where he would further be received at the Windsor Castle, the first of a Nigerian leader to be so welcomed at the Windsor Castle.
In 4 decades.
So,
Okay, the first in Windsor Castle.
yes, he is the first.
The second of such visits.
No, but we're speaking to the royal reception at Windsor Castle.
Yeah,
he is the
Windsor,
first.
yeah,
We are pointing
yeah.
out the first.
First in Windsor Castle.
Yes.
I
So what's the significance for us being the first to be welcomed at
what is it mean for somebody must be the first of anything?
No, but it speaks to the importance, and the respect the royal family accords to our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
I do not see anything special about that trip. Nothing special about it. There's so much to actually do in Nigeria. As the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, we are executing a war and our President is traveling. And you are telling me, what do I expect? What am I going to get excited about? The kind of reception he's giving at the airport in the UK? He's a president, of course. The country is visiting must accord him that. Remember, Nigeria is a Commonwealth country, and of course UK is the headquarters of Commonwealth. So you're just visiting your headquarters. And of course, UK also, colonized us, trained Nigerians, brought in all the things that we are presently using, the kind of education we are using and everything. So there will always, according to say respect, yes, Nigeria will be respected as a nation where the UK has transformed its economy.
Anyways, that's a matter of opinion. What be that as it may, the fight against insurgency and a lot of happenings in Nigeria will not allow that to take away from the glowing tribute and manner which Mr. President was received. Speaking to, yes, Nigeria is a member of the Commonwealth, but it speaks to the pride of place which the United Kingdom and Prince Charles has accorded Nigeria in this time, and being that Nigeria is expected to offer leadership in Africa. So at a time like this, you know that there'll be a lot of talks on a lot of happenings around Nigeria, and we hope, while yes, there may be skepticism as to the timing, but this is already a pre-scheduled visit. While we are sticking to the timing and all that, there's no doubt that there will be a lot of good that would come to the country from this very visit. And do remember that Mr. President is the #1 image maker of this nation, and at this time we need to deal with the image of the country. Perception is everything. But having said that, Ms. Gift Obodo, let's know what's happening in the entertainment world.
I have a current gist that the entertainment world is all about Pella, the almighty Pella, who we know as an online streamer on his visit tour to different states, which has resulted to a heavy conflict, most especially in his visit to the Benin City and to the palace. And the Queen is about to be kicked out of the palace, given that Pella, he gave access to the palace, and the elders and the king has described this as an embarrassment, and Pella has been ordered to write an apology for accessing the palace and streaming there. And the Benin Palace is a sacred place and not a playground for kids. And as a result of this, it has generated so many controversy if actually this is a place of child's play. And moving over to my second gist is about Mohbad, the popular singer, the late singer, whose family's lawyer questions lack capacity for DNA tests.
All right, Mr. Reyes, we've seen a streamer called Pella having access to the royal house in Benin, and here we're listening to the Queen being stripped of her royal accolades for allowing a streamer, Pella, access. And also we've had issues around the DNA test, speaking to the dead singer Mohbad, but the lawyer is raising questions around the capacity of the appointed hospitals by the court to conduct DNA tests.
And from the last one, it's an interrogation to the confidence which they will have on the outcome of the DNA test. But at the same time, there must be a DNA test that will be accepted before the court as an evidence. The Evidence Act, banks on scientific tests that will show that his death was either by this or by that and all that. Then on the issue of streaming, Pella going to stream at the Benin Palace. You see, naturally, whenever, even in the United States, if there's anything you need to do in the White House, you must go through the normal process, applying, ensuring there's security, scrutiny, and everything. And if they are going to offer you that, you will now be free to come in and do, but you don't come through the back door. The Queen is not the head of the palace, and the Queen is not supposed to authorize a streamer to come into the palace and stream. Unfortunately, the paraphernalia of office of the Queen is going to be removed from her. No, well, they should tamper justice with mercy, since they have already asked Pella to write an apology. Then it means they have also beginning to think about forgiving. It will not be fair if they strip the Queen of her queenship. It will be wrong. I'll plead with the Benin monarch to tamper justice with mercy.
Well, looking at this same issue, it's nothing to be taken home about. Me, I will tell you that Pella himself should write the apology they asked him to write. And that's a wrap on this edition of Sunrise on Oneka TV. Thank you for waking up with us. It's always a pleasure. I'm Good Hope Chukwuma.
And thank you, Ms. Gift Obodo, for that entertainment update.
Thank you.
All right. And Mr. Reyes, what a pleasure. Those in-depth analysis, though we differ on so many things, but it's always a pleasure to have you here on Sunrise.
Yeah, certainly. It's about opinion, and all the opinions will not be the same.
All right. And I'm Uche Osai. On behalf of all of us here on Sunrise at Nike TV, we'll say thank you for watching and keep watching till we come your way same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.